Good morning, and we are back. So this is the part 2 of the video that was just posted. It's the lower body version for yoga conditioning to help you strengthen your body. So today we're going to work on mobilizing the hips, hip flexors, working the quads, hamstring, glutes, a little bit of calves, and obviously with some of the balancing movements, a bit of core activation, working on ankle stability, knee stability, all the good things. So what we're going to need for this workout is absolutely nothing, just your yoga mat and yourself. So we're going to start today in a low lunge. Let's go ahead and put that left foot forward, ground the back knee. We're really just going to get into the right hip flexor here. It's a nice little movement I always like to do before doing my lower body workouts. Is from this position we can really target two very niggly areas, well for me especially, are hamstrings and hip flexors. If you're a cyclist, you'll have tight hip flexors. If you're a runner, you'll have very tight hamstrings. So working through this movement in low lunge is a really great way to warm up and start to mobilize those areas that are needed for your workout. So really pressing in to the right hip flexor, trying to square off the hips, and then also don't just kind of dump like I'm doing right now into the lower back. So just take it back a bit, really try and stack the shoulders over the hips, hug the belly button in towards the spine, and then placing the hands onto the left knee, you can really add a further stretch into that hip flexor. And notice if you twist over to the left a little bit, how that adds more of a stretch there. And then coming back to a neutral position, go ahead and straighten that front leg, hinging at the hips here. If you do have blocks with you or anything to stack your hands up on, now would be a good time to use them. But what we want to focus on here in this sort of half Hanuman shape is really hinging at the hips. So often we kind of compromise the spine a little bit when we try and reach and lean forward to get to our toe or our knee or whatever it is we want to grab onto, but we're really just kind of hindering the whole effect of that movement. So what we want to do is keep the lower leg straightened, the left leg, and hinging at the hips, kind of sending the chest forward but keeping the back straight. You'll notice it's quite an intense stretch on the left hamstring. You can go ahead and reach for it, take a bind at the big toe, pull the toes towards the shin, just to really stretch out the calves a little bit. And then extend the arms up, take a deep breath in, and exhale, hands back down onto the mat. We're going to just flow through downward dog here. Pedal out the feet, further stretch into the calves. And then go ahead and find stillness just for 3 breaths here. Take a bend in the knees if needed. Turn those fingertips outwards to help create a bit more flexibility in the shoulders. And drop your chest towards the mat. Last inhalation. And softly exhale, this time stepping the right foot forward. We're going to meet in a low lunge on the other side. So notice from the start here, are we leaning forward? Is the left hip dropping lower than the right? Let's just come into a comfortable neutral position. Engaging the core, hugging the belly button in towards the spine, drawing the ribs up, shoulders are relaxed. And just at your own comfortable pace, find a little bit of movement, deepen the stretch into that left hip flexor. Nice way to add more intensity to the stretch is to push the left hip forward and draw the right hip back. And I like to place my hands on the knees here just to kind of guide my left hip forward, pull the right hip back. And then pressing a little bit deeper. And then we'll straighten the front leg, work into the right hamstring now, into our half Hanuman position. Sometimes it's nice to take a little inhale with the arms up just to find that length in the spine again. And then soften as we hinge at the hips, sending the chest forward rather than dropping the head towards the knee. So keep the shoulders back and take a hold of that big toe if it's there for you. Or we can just stay upright, place the hands on the hips if that's as far as you want to go. If that's doing it for you, then by all means stay there. And then coming back through that low lunge position, inhale the arms up, exhale the hands back down to the mat, and we'll meet again in downward facing dog. This time, stepping the right foot forward, we're going to swivel over to the left hand side, and we're going to find ourselves in a wide-legged forward fold position. So before we get into our first exercise, just one more kind of movement or feeling I like to feel to open up the hamstrings, create space in the lower back, is we're going to do a wide-legged forward fold, but placing the thumbs right into the hip flexors there and really press back and down, and at the same time kind of drawing the crown of the head forward, and then keeping that flat spine, hinging at the hips, lower the chest down towards the mat. We're going to stay in this position for a few breaths. And then coming back up, and we're going to go to our first exercise. So just like part one, we're going to do 3 movements for 2 rounds, and then another 3 movements for 2 rounds, so 6 exercises in total. And we'll get familiar with it as we go along and have a bit of fun. So we're going to work through the first one, which is skandasana squats. So we're in that wide-legged position already, so we don't need to change much. Maybe just heel the heels in and the toes out a little bit if your adductors are feeling really tight. And we're going to move from side to side, so keeping the knee over the ankle joint and sending the hips back. We're going to move from right to left. I'm going to go for 10, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Holding it here on the left side for 5 breaths. So adding these static holds at the end of a dynamic movement really helps to work on our muscle stamina. And coming back through center, let's just take an inhale, send the hips forward just to give the hip flexors a bit of a break. Extend the arms up, a little back bend if that feels good, and we'll come back meeting in a wide-legged standing position, going through skandasana squats from left to right this time. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Holding here on the right hand side for 5 breaths. And 5, swinging the arms, windmill them back over to the top of the mat. We're going to step back into downward dog. Couple breaths here. I really like to kind of walk my downward dog out in between exercises. And then stepping the right foot up again this time. We're going to come into a malasana squat facing, well, you can face the front, I'm just facing the camera here. We're going to drop, so kind of keeping the feet at a 45-degree angle, both of them outwards. We're going to drop down into a malasana squat. Find a nice comfortable footing. So for me here, I've got quite a lot, like a wide stance, because my hip flexors and adductors are pretty tight. Some people can be here. If you're just here, that's good too. But we're going to work through malasana squats, and we're going to press up and come onto the toes for a little added calf raise here. And we're just going to flow through that really slowly. We're kind of using this as a bit of a stretch here. So we're just going to do 5 this time. 2, 3, squeeze and hold at the top, really engaging the quads. So kind of straightening the legs, pulling up the knees, cap, squeezing through the toes, contracting the calves. One last one. And let's go down and hold for 5. So in this Malasana position, it's kind of easy to just hang out and kind of sink into the hips, but what we really want to focus on here is pressing through the heels, sending the toes outwards, externally rotating the feet, bringing the hands towards the chest, really broadening through the collarbones, dropping the sit bones down towards the mat, using the elbows to add that adductor stretch by opening up the knees. 2 more breaths. And stand up, windmill the arms back down towards the mat. And we're actually going to lower down here into a bit of a cobra. So before we get into this next exercise, we're just going to hold, so lifting the arms up, hands up off the mat. We're going to engage the lower back muscles here before we move through our next movement, which involves a warrior 3 position. So just to warm up those muscles and get them ready for what they needed to do. 2 more breaths. 3, 2, 1, and let's press through upward facing dog. And then take a look over the right shoulder, take a look over the left, swing the hips around, release any tension in those hip flexors. And then we'll send the hips up and back into downward facing dog. And this time, stepping the left foot forward, right foot to join. We'll take a little flow, halfway lift to meet back in mountain. So halfway lift, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll it up 1 vertebra at a time. Extend the arms up and overhead. Exhale. Go ahead and shake out the wrists, shake out the ankles. And we'll meet at the top of our mat. So we're going to put all of our weight into our left foot here, lifting up the right knee, bringing the knee in towards the chest. So from here, we are going to extend the right foot towards the back of the mat, and we're going to come from a standing knee to chest position, and we're going to move through into a warrior 3. So you're really going to feel a lot of work in the left glutes here, as well as using the right glute and right hamstring to activate that back leg so we can get a real nice shape in our warrior 3. So hands come to center, look in front of you to find a nice focal point to help you balance, and we're going to move through that. So you can keep your hands at your chest here, or you can do the full extension of warrior 3, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to go for 5, so extending, and really moving through this movement really slowly so that we can stay nice and stable. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one, and we're getting ready for a 5 breath hold here. So find a variation of warrior 3 that you can comfortably hold for 5 seconds. I'm going ahead and putting my hands on my chest. 1, 2. Really activate that back leg. Push away through the heel. Contract the hamstring. Use the glute to straighten that back leg. 2 more breaths here. You got this. And 1. Coming back to mountain. So go ahead and just give a couple of ankle rolls on that left foot. It's done a lot of work stabilizing you there. So placing all the weight into the right foot this time, lifting up the left leg. We're going to move through that pattern on the other side. Hands to heart center. And extend that leg back into warrior 3. And then back to that starting position. Let's go for 4 more. 2. 3. 2, and last one. Let's hold it here. Find that variation that works for you. Press through the grounding foot. Notice the difference in that. You kind of crunch through the toes. Toes are going to work to help you stay stable. 2 more deep breaths here. Activate the back leg. 3, 2, 1. Coming back up. And then just a couple of rolls through the right ankle, just to give it a bit of a break. So those are the 3 movements. We'll meet back down in a wide-legged to flow through them this time. Hopefully a bit more familiar. So we're just going to go from start to finish and see if we can build up a little bit of heat this morning. So wide-legged position, get comfy. We're going for Skandasana squats, moving from right to left. Let's go for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Holding on the left side here. 5 breaths. So remember, we spoke about finding steady, deep breathing in these compromised, restricted positions. A little bit of lung power here. Pranayama to the practice. And then back up through center. Let's go ahead and take a slight back bend, give those hip flexors a bit of a break. And then coming back down through center. Checking those feet, making sure they're in that comfortable position again. And we're going from left to right. Let's go for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sending the hips back. 9 and 10. Holding here. 1. So breathing in these static holds, it's really a chance for you to try and open up any areas of tightness through the softening of the breath. So for me here, really feeling it in the right adductor, and try and breathe into that space to soften it a little bit here. 1 more breath. And we're going to go through a flow. So go ahead and windmill the arms to the front of the mat, stepping back into downward facing dog. Pedal the feet out here for a little bit. And then let's find stillness for 2 deep breaths. Draw the belly in towards the navel, suck the belly button back and towards the spine. So we're really contracting the core here. And then stepping the right foot forward. Find your way back into that Malasana starting position for our Malasana extensions. So feeling a little bit more confident this time round. We're going to go for 10. So dropping back down into that active Malasana, making sure the feet are in the position that you are comfortable. And then let's go for 10. Squeezing onto the toes, activating the calves on the way up for that full extension of the movement. 9 more. 5 more. 2 and 1. Let's go down. Hold Malasana. Let's see if we can interlace the fingers behind the back. Open up through the chest. There we go. 3 more breaths. 1, 2, and 3. Let's get out of that quickly. Hands back down to the mat. Stepping back into downward facing dog. Let's take a flow here. Maybe we can release some tension in the hip flexors. So slow lower chaturanga. Big upward facing dog. And let's hold it here. Back to downward facing dog. Step up with the right foot. Left foot to follow. Going through a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then nice and slowly take your time here. Roll it all the way up. Extend the arms up towards the ceiling. Deep breath. Little back extension if that feels good. And exhale. We're going to meet in mountain. So going over to the warrior 3 movement now. Lifting up the left leg. We know this time. So let's try and move through it. Not necessarily quicker, but more efficiently. So lifting up the right knee. So if previously you had the hands towards the chest, let's go ahead and take the modified version now and try and extend the arms with it. Or you do exactly what worked for you the previous time. So here we go, we're going for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Getting ready to hold. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Couldn't last the 5 breaths there. It's funny how when we're in those positions, 5 breaths can move from 10 seconds to a mere 5 if we want to get through it quicker. But anyway, let's move over to the right leg, lifting up the left knee. I'm going to try and keep those breaths deep and steady. Ground the right foot, find that focal point, and let's move through it. Warrior 3. Back to the starting position. 4 more. 3, 2, and last one, holding here. Try and breathe a little longer. On this side, 2, 3, and 5. Coming back to center. Inhale the arms up. Exhale. Forward fold. And we're going to take a nice seat down on our mats. So we've worked through 2 rounds of those 3 movements. We're going on to our second round of movements now. And we're going to start it by lying down on the floor. Take a little break. Coming into a bridge position. Pressing through the heels. We're going to cross the right foot over the left knee. We're going to go for 10 single leg bridge ups. What we're going to focus on here is pressing the right knee away from the body, kind of dropping the right knee down towards the mat. So we're going to keep that focus through the repetitions as we press up through the left heel and send the hips towards the ceiling. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold. This time straighten the leg. So we're straightening the leg for 5 holds here. 5 breath holds. And drop the hips back down. Go ahead and let the knees flop out towards the side. Bring them back to center. Maybe a couple trunk twists here as we flop the knees over from left to right. Just releasing a bit of tension in the obliques and lower back. And then we'll meet again, this time crossing the left foot over the right knee. So thinking of squaring off those hips, notice as the left drop lower than the right. Just have a look and put them back to where they need to be. Pushing that right heel firmly into the mat and dropping the left knee down towards the ground. We're going to go for 10. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Hold it there. Straighten the left leg. Square off the hips. You got this. 5 breaths. 1, 4, and 5. Alright, let's rock up to seated. Roll over the knees. Meet at the top of our mat in the tabletop position. In tabletop, you just flip the back toes, your only toes at the back, and it's downward dog. Pedal it out here. And then find stillness. Bringing the toes to touch. You're going to lift up the left leg here into a 3-legged dog. We're not going to flip it all the way over, but just kind of drop that left foot down towards the right side. Real nice stretch here. And then come through, hug the knee in towards the chest and step that left foot up. Right foot to join the top of the mat here. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll it all the way up. And then seal it down in mountain. Shake out the wrists, shake out the ankles. We're starting in a similar position to the Warrior 3 movement, but we're only stepping back to revolve into a twist this time. So when stepping back and twisting, there's definitely a balance element. So I like to look back when I twist, but sometimes it kind of takes your focus off the drishti and it helps you balance. So if you'd like to do a kind of less of a twist, but keep your gaze forward, that might help you in the first round. You can always change it up in the second round. So starting with all the weight in the left foot, we're going to step back into a reverse lunge. Hands come to chest and we're going into a revolve twist. So starting with the knee raised, stepping back, revolve twist, and then really placing a lot of emphasis on leaning forward, pressing into that grounding foot as we kind of shoot back up into that starting position. Let's go for 4 more. 1, 2, three, and 4. We're holding here. So in this position we want to try and use that right elbow and the left knee to create more of a twist. You can kind of head the thumbs towards the heart center, activate that back leg. 2 more deep breaths here. And coming back up to center. Change the weight on the feet there, roll out that left ankle. And we'll meet in mountain at the top of the mat, placing all the weight into the right foot, lifting up the left leg, hands to heart center, stepping back, finding a twist, and then leaning forward, weight on the right foot, and coming back up to starting position. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. 5 breath hold. Activate the back leg. You can keep your gaze down if that helps, or we're looking up over the right shoulder. 3 more. 2, and 1. Hands back down to the mat. Step back into downward dog. And then looking forward between the hands, stepping forward with the right foot. Go ahead and find that wide-legged position again. So in that wide-legged position where we started our Skandasana squats from, pretty much the exact same feet distance apart. And we're going to move through a wide-legged forward fold. So either hands on the hips or extend them overhead. And we're going to slow, lower tempo, maybe 2 or 3 seconds on the way down. Feel the hamstrings work here. And then coming back up. And then how this movement shifts the weight is heels in, toes out into a goddess squat position. So you can either keep the hands on the hips, hands overhead, or cactus shape the arms. And we're going down into a goddess squat. And then we will heel the heels out and toe the toes in, and into a wide-legged forward fold. We're only going to go for 5 here. It's more of a slow, controlled movement. So, goddess squat, wide-legged forward fold. 3 more. Goddess. Extend the arms. 2 more. Goddess. Send the hips back. Last one. Forward. And then we're going to find a goddess squat for 5 breaths. Everybody's favorite. I suppose it's still better than chair, but we are here holding for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Coming up, bring all the arms to the top of the mat, and we are meeting in downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. 2. And let's keep a big bend in the knees. Walking the feet all the way up to the top of the mat. Meet the hands, keeping the knees bent. Drop the sit bone towards the mat. Go ahead and take a nice seat. Roll the shoulders, roll the spine all the way down to meet the mat. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Maybe take a little side rock from side to side. If that feels good, massage the spine. We're here again at the start of set 2 with our bridge ups. So more familiar on where we're going this time. We're gonna get straight to it. Work through the movements. So crossing we started on the right last time, yeah. Crossing left ankle over right foot, drawing the knee down towards the ground, really placing all the weight onto the heel. And we're going for 10 bridge ups. 1, 2, flow through a little faster this time, really squeeze the glutes at the top. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Holding it there, straighten the leg. 5, 4, deep breaths. 3, 2, and 1. Dropping it down. Let's come into a quick little neutralizing bridge, so both feet are grounded on the mat, pressing up the hips. And then roll it down. My favorite little yoga saying, like a string of pulls, dropping the spine, 1 pull at a time until the sit bone meets the mat. There we go. Crossing the right ankle over the left. And we're going for 10 bridge ups on the left. So, here we go. 1, 2. Notice if the hips have shifted. Maybe the right hip's higher than the left this time. Who knows? Let's see. Dropping the right knee down towards the mat. Always got to set ourselves up for success from the start. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Straighten the right leg. Press those hips up. Feeling it in the left glute here. 3 more deep breaths. And 1. Drop it down. Hug both knees in towards the chest. And we're going to rock up to seated, rolling over the knees. You might have gone out the camera shot there, but coming back into a tabletop, front tabletop, sending the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees. Let's try a little hop up to the front of the mat. So pressing through the arms. 1, 2, 3, hop up to the top. Hopefully you landed a little bit more gracefully than I did there. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale the arms up. Nice little back bend. And exhale through the mouth. Drop the hands down. Shake it out. Feel as light as possible. We're getting ready for our step back twist. So, placing the weight onto the left foot, lifting up the right knee, hands to chest, stepping back and twisting. 1, let's go nice and efficiently. 2, 3, 4, whoopsie, and 5. Activating the back hamstring and the back leg, straightening that leg, opening up through the twist, finding a deep steady breath. 3 more. And 1. Back up to mountain. Switch feet, roll out the left ankle. Lifting up the left knee. And stepping back for 5, twisting over to the right. Stepping back, twisting. And then leaning forward, grounding all the weight into that right foot because we're using that leg to spring us back into the starting position. 4 more. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Whoopsie, thank goodness the wall is there. Last one. Getting tired now. 5 breaths. Here we go. Coming back up. Shake it all out. We're going into the last exercise. It's been a really tough, challenging workout so far. So let's try and finish off strong. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to meet the mat. Stepping back, only the left. Swivel the feet over to the left hand side. And we're here in a wide-legged forward fold again. So, let's inhale the arms up, slight back bend if that feels good. And we'll start the movement from here this time. So, slow tempo, lower. 1, 2, 3. Coming back up. Toes go out, heels come in. Goddess squat. 4 more. 1, 2. Really sending the hips back. Shoulders forward. Broadening through the collarbones. I think it's 2 more. 1. Whoa, that was a half attempt at a goddess squat there. Last one. And holding it here. Last 5 deep working breaths of the video. 1, 3, 4, and 5. Let's get out of that. Windmill your arms back to the top of the mat. Go ahead, step back into downward dog. From downward dog, we are going to do one last little walk up to the top of the mat. Keeping the knees bent. Take a little seat. Roll back onto your back. And hug the knees, both of them, in towards the chest. So really focus on your breathing now. We've done all the physical work. Can we tune into the finer details? Let's extend the right foot forward, hug the left knee in towards the chest. Take a hold of the big toe. Extend the left foot. Soften into the left hamstring. And then change those feet. Place the left foot on the mat, hug the right knee in towards the chest. Take hold of the right toe, straighten the leg. A couple softening breaths into that right hamstring. And we're just going to end off with one last little supine twist. They always feel really yummy at the end. So hug the left knee in towards the chest. Take a deep breath. Take hold of the outside of the knee with the right hand. Twist over to the right. Draw the knee over the body. And then look over the left shoulder. Notice if the shoulders come up off the mat, that's okay, but soften it towards the mat again. 2 more breaths. And coming back to center, extend the left leg, hug the right knee into the chest. We're going to do that on the other side. Taking hold of the outside of the knee with the left hand. Drawing the knee over the body to the left. As you exhale, looking over the right shoulder. 2 more softening breaths here. And then, I suppose, this is is the end of a part 2 video. It would seem necessary to take a little shavasana here as we really reap the rewards of our practice in this moment. Find a comfortable shavasana, tuck the shoulder blades under, relax the ankles, relax the wrists. We're going to take this opportunity to find complete stillness in our day. Even if it's 5 grounding breaths we get in the midst of a busy schedule, we'll take them. 4 more. Soften the muscles of the face. Can you relax fully? 2 more deep breaths. Last one, in through the nose, deepest breath you've taken all day. Sigh out through the mouth. Wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingertips. Open up the eyes if they were closed. And then come on back to a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center, thanking yourself for setting aside the time to practice. Find a different way to move your body today. Please share the video to your friends if you think that it will benefit them. Subscribe if you haven't already, and give us a like just for added thumbs up. And I hope that these 2 videos could be a real nice kind of add-on to your regular practice, or just a new fun way to get moving, warm up the body. And yeah, hopefully we can keep providing some fun videos for you to try. Enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.